everyone, and welcome to yet another day of NGS action. Now, today's going to be a little different than usual for a few reasons. One, it's not a live game. It is a replay between BoomerGaming and potential Scrim Thursday. Now, this game happened February 19th on Wednesday night. It is a heroic game. And since it's a replay, I'm also on absolutely no delay, as that is no longer relevant. Now, typically, I'd have it a bit different. I'd go through the standings. Obviously, I'm going to avoid that. I don't want to show any spoilers because those things are always up to date. And I also do not want to, I don't want to ruin the game as soon as we start heading in. Now, there's also not going to be drafts or anything like that, since that's typically not how it's done. All I can really say is that map number 1 is going to be the Infernal Shrines. So with that being said, let's head right into it. All right, hello, and we are into map number 1 between BoomerGaming and potential Scrim Thursday. So now we can kind of take a look at the draft, and it is going to be over on that Infernal, or sorry, this is the wrong one. Oops, give me one moment. I opened the wrong file. Well, that is going to be map number 2, Towers of Doom. Whoops. Ah! Sorry, I'm still learning. I haven't done replays in so long. Good replay. Photo, there we go. This is the one. There we go. Okay, but we do have the draft already done. Obviously, we don't know the bands. But just very quickly, there's definitely some interesting picks that I'm seeing already. I mean, we have the last Vikings on just in case. DH Bob going to be on the Imperious. We have, I believe, Compute X is on the Hanzo, Shoepuff on the Junkrat, and the White Man going to be played by Moon on the side of potential Scrim Thursday. Now, over on the blue side, we're going to have Goose on Chromie, J-Shifts on the Tracer, I believe. Hard to see who's on the Orc. I think that's iFeed. And then Bellers on Diablo, and Dope Monster on the Lucio. And it's very interesting seeing all these different picks, all these potential, because a lot of these heroes are going to be getting a little bit nerfed next patch, but we'll talk about that later as they are grouping into the mid lane. J-Shift's just going to do a little bit of poke, then recall. But they are just showing all 5 mid right now from BoomerGaming. And with Vikings, they can just kind of hold this 5-on-5 indefinitely, because they're going to be soaking the offlane as well with Eric and... I always forget the other guy's name. But either way, Drain Hope going to be landing over onto DH Bob. Not going to be doing too much damage. Compute X is going to get poked down a decent little bit, but the Celestial Charge going to hit on it too. Bellers is starting to get poked away. DH Bob trying to chase as J-Shifts actually gets really low. DH Bob just needs one hit. The Pulse Bomb is going to land, but still level 1. Doesn't do that much damage quite yet. And now both sides are starting to split up a little bit. Goose going to be going down to the bottom. Baylog, that's his name. I believe this red one's Eric, though. Baylog's this guy. But it's going to be Shoepuff and Baylog, and Eric over in the spot lane. DH Bob is just going to be going onto the siege camp alongside Moon and Compute X. But over on the bot side, no one's really going for the camps quite yet. They're going to be a little bit late on the side of BoomerGaming, but they should have a decently fast clear. However, they could definitely get collapsed upon right now. No level 4s coming out would be an even talent here. But it looks like they'd rather fight for this bottom one. But Goose has already spotted it out, has the time trap nearby, so they could try and fight for it. Gonna tap, actually, to make sure they have the extra HP. And they're clearing it really quickly. I don't think BoomerGaming is going to be able to get here in time, so that's just going to be a free camp for potential Scrim Thursday. They're playing a lot faster. Shoepuff, gonna get jumped upon, but has a concussion mine just to get away. And now they're still going to continue pressing up on potential Scrim Thursday. Not enough to try and contest onto the siege camp, as it is going to be safely taken away by BoomerGaming, but definitely enough to put up a little bit of pressure. And level 4s are now hit by potential Scrim Thursday. They don't have any angle to really start a fight. It was just a small advantage, as level 4s are now matched by BoomerGaming. And this is kind of the strength of the Vikings. They got that one extra camp, sure, but they've also just been collecting a little bit more soak across each of the lanes. Now looking at the big important stacking talents, the scatter arrows already at 8 stacks, so well on the way to getting those 2 extra arrows. And then the souls are at 23, and there's also deep breathing, so it is going to be the deep breathing for Dragon's Breath, which I believe increases the damage. No, reduces the cooldown and mana cost. So I mean, it's still a very big talent to have. And it does make Dragon's Breath a lot more powerful. Now, level 5 has been hit for BoomerGaming, so the level 7 talent, Mobius Loop, now going to be there as well. And it is going to be the Dragon's Breath build, trying to get a little bit more of that long-range poke. And I think it does make sense, considering primarily there's a lot of squishies over in the back line. The front line really isn't that strong. And now that I think about it, their main tank is kind of DH Bob on the Imperius and maybe Olaf as one of the Vikings, but that makes the Dragon's Breath a lot more attractive as a talent choice. It's going to be a lot more powerful, but now they have DH Bob getting thrown to the backline, but Dragon's Breath doing so much damage in the backline. Moon going to get hit with the Pulse Bomb. Bellers also use the Shadow Charge, and that's going to be first blood. J Shift's able to get it for BoomerGaming, but now the fight is still ongoing. DH Bob still looking forward. Compute X also trying to get a little bit of poke, but now DH Bob going to get Shadow Charged back into the wall. And the Sonic Boom not going to push in the right direction, so DH Bob will be able to get away. The skeletons are still quite even, though, so that is a pretty big win. And now Goose is actually in a bad spot, just in case not going to be able to get the last hit. Fortunately, not able to collect the Vikings there, but now the Celestial Charge lands onto iFeed, and iFeed is going to go down. J-Shift's able to dash away after that, but still taken down low. BoomerGaming will get the last skeleton, so they will have the Punisher, but level 7 talents are currently up for potential Scrim Thursday. In fact, Chromie gonna get down as well. Able to get that extra little bit of damage from Shoe Puff. That's gonna be a ton of DPS. Now the Mortar Punisher is dealing a decent chunk of damage over in the mid lane, as Bellers and J-Shift's gonna go down, going to kill Eric. I don't think there's really any escape there. Trying to run away, buy a little bit of time, but that's all they can really do. There's also actually the entire top wall has been taken down by the Bruiser Camp, and just in case in the top side. And the actual Punisher hasn't really done too much damage on the mid lane. It's not very good as an objective when it comes to pushing down waves. You need to push with it or use the pressure it applies. But unfortunately, BoomerGaming were not in a position to do that. But they prevented potential Scrim Thursday from taking the Punisher, so it's not all bad. Now the Dragon's Breath lands on a Compute X for most of their HP. J-Shift's looking for the Pulse Bomb, not going to be enough to get the kill. But that's a good amount of poke. Now DH Bob in a dangerous spot, going to get pushed back even further. Celestial Charge does land out of Bellers, but there's no follow-up, so it's going to be another kill as Goose gets taken down by Compute X. And that's a lot of DPS coming out from this Hanzo. Compute X playing really well. J-Shift's also getting a bit low as Eric just kind of pushing them down. And iFeed also in a bad spot. Not going to get taken down, but across the map, Olaf has been beaten. But unfortunately for BoomerGaming, potential Scrim Thursday, they're able to muscle their way in and just take control of this, despite the first kill actually going over to potential Scrim Thursday. Now J-Shift's trying to clear out the mid lane as the Siege Camp is taking out the entire wall, and I think they will be able to finish this no problem. And they could even look to start stealing the Siege Camp from BoomerGaming as well. Riptire is being utilized over in the bot lane, just kind of dancing around, going to be used to just clear the wave. But there's no one here to really defend against this, and I think that's because without level 10, BoomerGaming is a little bit worried to contest any fight without their heroic abilities being unlocked. They're up now, and it's going to be the Lightning Breath coming out from the Diablo. For the most part, it's pretty standard. It's going to be pulse rounds coming from J-Shifts. J-Shifts has already been really good at stacking up the Pulse Bomb and getting it out onto the back line. But until it gets a little bit more DPS, it's not going to be able to get the kill. But now GH Bob does get in the back line, but J-Shifts and Goose hit as well. But now Moon is stuck in the Lightning Flame. Scarlet Aegis does come out for the healing, and Moon is just self-sustaining through it. Now Eric is low, but will be able to back away. Beller's also kind of low, but the Fire Stomp will be able to heal them back up. So 0-for-0 engagement as almost every single ultimate has been used. In fact, I'd argue every single one has been used, because that is going to be the play again coming out from the Vikings. No real reason to use it if they didn't go down. And then the high five, I'm sure, has been used. It's technically always up. The cooldown's relative to the heroes that Dope Monster wants to go to. Now the Shrine is coming up topside. Ify trying to get the push in, but again, that's kind of the advantage of having these Vikings. It's so easy to get the majority push coming out on every single one of those lanes, getting all that extra soak. And it does do a lot during the early to mid game. But after that, the soaking advantage doesn't matter too much. However, the Vikings also scale extremely well. They become very powerful damage dealers. And the Olaf is a good frontliner as well. And right now, they kind of do need the Olaf to frontline at least a little bit. A Dope Monster just kind of being annoying, trying to prevent them from really doing anything. GH Bob going to get hit into the wall. They have the overpower, not too much DPS to follow. But they do have the Entomb, and they are going to be using all of their abilities. And the Cleanse perfectly timed to prevent the Temporal Loop. That's going to be 2 ultimates used really to accomplish not too much. Moon was there in position and was able to get the Cleanse timing perfectly. And with that, they have full control over this top side. They should be able to get this Punisher already at 35 to 0 skeletons. But with level 13 advantage, this could be a pretty solid push. Now, none of the forts have been taken down quite yet, so it's still something that they could look to do. There's also going to be the walls coming up soon, or the backside walls, but Time Trap going to prevent the leap. But now the Celestial Charge is going to come through. The high five for the Cleanse, as they are going to be pushing and zoning out further with the Riptire. And the Riptire is going to land. Stasis is being held, and the Riptire is looking to be used, and won't end up hitting too much. It'll hit Bellers, but Bellers will heal. Dragon Arrow does land, but it's behind the wall. Now the Punisher might still jump on them, but it is just going to be on the Bellers. The Arcane Punisher is almost gone, but now Bellers very smartly used the Shadow Charge back onto the Arcane Punisher to be able to go back over the wall. Now Ify coming in from the side will use the Entomb, and it's on it too. It's on a Show Puff. Now Computex will jump away. Lightning Breath coming out over the back, but they just don't have enough damage onto this backline. Bellers is starting to get low, but the fight is still ongoing. Can they still push through? They have level 13s, but they do have the Celestial Charge. Ify going to get taken down. Enough DPS is coming out from Computex and from Shoe Puff to get that done. And what started out as another very close fight, and it was on an even talent here. That's one thing I definitely want to mention. As DH Bob does get on a J shift, but with the Cleanse will be okay. And unfortunately, BoomerGaming, they are just lacking a little bit of that extra DPS, and frankly, I'm not even sure where they can really get it from. Because J Shifts is throwing out the combo, Goose is throwing out the combo, Lightning Breath over top. I'm not really sure where else they can start pulling this extra needed DPS out of. Now, Eric trying to run away. The Entomb gonna go wide, just in case, just gonna be able to run the little Eric out of the way. But with that, they're already onto their siege camp. DH Bob might get in the way a little bit, as the Shadow Charge is gonna get utilized and the Overpower. Now they have the Temporal Loop, but DH Bob does go in. They do cancel the Temporal Loop. Just a little bit of extra DPS is needed, but they're not going to be able to land on a DH Bob. Now the Riptire does deal damage. Ify starting to get quite low as well. And they're going to go with the Wrath of the Anguirus. And they're going to throw Ify into the backline, and Ify will go down. Scarlet Aegis utilized as well. And Computex going to survive the Pulse Bomb thrown into the backline. So Olaf did go down, but it is just one of the Vikings. And that is traded for the offlaner from the side of BoomerGaming. And now they do have the pullback on a Dope Monster. DH Bob once again sitting quite low, but so is J Shift. And now Dragon Arrow not going to land. Or actually, it does land, but just onto the Diablo, who was unstoppable. And another one for a third, but J Shift's looking to the back line. They're trying to pull forward. DH Bob is still tanking. We'll be able to just jump out with the Celestial Charge. Now Beller starting to get low. Level 16 talents are up right now for potential Scrim Thursday. And we can even see that with a triple grenade coming out of Shoe Puff. So their siege damage is definitely going to grow, as just in case it's still collecting so much value out of these Vikings, getting so much XP in the off lanes. And while that pressure is coming through, they're going to send the rest of their team down to collect the siege camp in the bot side. Now for BoomerGaming, the XP lead is starting to look pretty bad. It's 2 levels for potential Scrim Thursday, but their buildings and their structures are still in a decent spot. As long as they can delay to level 20, they should be in a much better spot. So they just need to make sure not to lose the game before they can get that extra talent. And once they hit 16, they will be in a pretty close state in terms of power. Now Shoop-Up taking a lot of pokes. Same with Computex. And the Dragon's Breath build really starting to come online now. It's going to be difficult to finish anyone off because the white main is very powerful. But now DH Bob going to actually pull the Chromie. And with the concussion mine, Goose still alive for now, but is going to go down here. There's one more hit, and DH Bob going to get the last hit onto it. And that was a very, very interesting play coming out of DH Bob. I thought that was definitely going to hit Bellers, but the timing, the placement was perfect. So with that, Goose gets thrown to the back lane. Without the Chromie, they definitely don't have any more damage. And I've been saying it before in previous drafts when I do live casting, that Chromie can deal damage to the front line. It is something that the hero is definitely capable of. It can kill tanks. So having the second DPS be a Tracer that's kind of more of a backline killer, I think it is still doable. But with the White Maid and the Scarlet Aegis giving that spell armor, because how much is it? Yeah, it's 40 armor. They're not going to have enough damage for the burst, and that's really where you'd want that more standard DPS. So the White Maid was a very good pick in the draft, and now Beller's going to be getting jumped upon by the Frost Punisher. They are going to be slowly DPSing onto it, but it's still quite tanky. And now level 19 coming through, still no level 20s. So this could be a moment to fight after they kill the Punisher. But now Goose actually going to be able to destroy the Riptide before the explosion comes through. DH Bob looking towards iFeed as the Drain Hope is just going back and forth. But now Beller's looking for the play. They have the Invulnerable coming through. Moon getting taken down to half HP, but they're just getting free damage right now onto the keep. They don't really need to play super hard. Now DH Bob gonna get pulled back. Moon is stuck within the Entomb. The Scarlet Aegis does come out, but the Pulse Bomb going to be enough. They found Moon, but now Dope Monster trying to get back will be okay, but iFeed will go down in the process. Now DH Bob once again gets thrown down to the backline. J-Shifts trying to jump onto Shupa and is able to deal a lot of damage, but the burst is too high. DH Bob gets Dope Monster, and now Goose is in a bad spot. Just needs to try and run away, run as fast as possible. Bellers is going to sacrifice themselves, but can't even work for that. Computex able to get the snipe over through the backline, and now Bellers will follow, and I think that's going to be it. Level 20 already hit for potential Scrim Thursday, and with that, they're going to probably end game number 1. No, not yet. The death timers are still not too long for BoomerGaming, and with the souls, Bellers is able to come right back. And now, just in case, the little Eric just shoving out the top side, and with the double cannons, may even be able to take down this top lane keep, all just from the backline. Now the cannons are doing their best, needs a couple more hits. I think they should be able to save it for now, but it is definitely not a good place to be. And the next Punisher is going to be going towards the mid lane, and I mean, they could definitely just take this down on their way. If the Punisher's in there, they'll have the extra pressure that they need. Now Siege Camp is shoving out through the mid lane. Just in case, just going to continue shoving out these lanes with the Vikings. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to get any lasting damage onto this wall. Just going to be a little bit of extra poke. But they are pinging onto the Bruiser Camp. They have the level 20 advantage on potential Scrim, so this is definitely a moment where they have a very clear advantage if they do want to fight. So DH Bob just going to walk up for it, and they're just going to start it. And it looks like BoomerGaming, they don't want to contest onto it. They don't want to try and get a pick with it, as they will at least clear away the Siege Camp mid lane. But this Bruiser Camp is going to be hard to defend if it's pushed in with it. However, it does look like potential Scrim Thursday, they are focusing more on that mid lane wall. And I think that's because they know they can just kind of allow the top side to pressure itself. And now Goose gotta get into the backline, gotta go into stasis just in time. But now the extra stuns and the Riptire over top. Goose is going to go down. Second Riptire coming through. Just going to be a little bit of extra poke. We'll get a little bit of that cooldown back, but not completely. DH Bob gonna be getting hit. And DH Bob is low on mana, so it is going to be hard for them to do a full engage. However, because they took down Goose, they can definitely continue on this push. And Eric, in the meanwhile, is still pushing with his double Bruiser Camp. That should be the end of the top keep as it does go down. And now over here in the mid lane, they're still focusing onto this final keep, and they might even ignore it. Look at this wave. Double Bruiser Camp, a cannon. And they have push coming out from bottom. 3 cannons and a Siege Camp. And without Goose especially, it's so hard to clear away. J-Shifts can deal damage, but only to squishies. Now Lightning Breath gonna have to get utilized. In fact, Scarlet Aegis Moon trying to say that as J-Shifts and iFeed The Dragon Arrow just going to go slightly wide. Concussion of Mind going to separate them away, but it's going to be bad for Bellers. One more hit of the Riptire will get the kill. Level 22 to 19 right now. Not that it really matters because they have the push, they have the DPS, they have the numbers advantage, and not quite able to end quite yet. Dope Monster just trying to buy time, and now Dope Monster is thrown to the back line and isn't in a very good spot, but will be able to dash away. Moon also kind of caught out, but it's going to be traded for J-Shifts. And more waves are still piling in, and that will be game number 1 going to potential Scrim Thursday. Yeah, so that is going to be that game number 1. And looking at the DPS charts, it kind of makes sense. I think potential Scrim Thursday, they had an easier time DPSing. Hanzo and Junkrat can both poke from range. And that especially is going to make it quite a bit easier for them. Oop. Why is this not working? Oh, I see. Sorry, still figuring out some stuff with the while doing replays. I'm trying a different system here, but yeah, Hanzo and Junkrat are just able to constantly DPS onto the backline, and J-Shift is the only one that can kind of threaten the backline. But specifically, Whitemane, I think, is the perfect counter to a backline assassin. With the extra healing, with the debuff in terms of DPS, and Scarlet Age is just massive burst healing and lowers the burst damage coming out. So there's just no way to finish off Shoopov or Compute-X. And they were even caught in the Entomb a couple times. Just didn't work. Now, let's go to game 2. Not going to do a break because why would we do that? It's replays. They're meant to be fast. We're going to keep going. I will have a little bit of tea for a little bit, but that's all we're really going to be doing here. All right, game number 2, Towers of Doom. Potential Scrim Thursday. Already winning game number 1. Is there chat in the replays? I'm actually not sure if there's chat in the replays, but I'm just going to disable it just in case. I was making a point. Players should be able to say whatever they want privately to the other team. Not that they should be flaming each other or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But if there's some, like, a lot of these players are close with each other, you know? Let their conversations be private. But looking at the draft, what is interesting for me is BoomerGaming. They have the Asmodan. Or sorry, not BoomerGaming. Oh, they changed sides. Okay, I see how it is. Give me a sec to pause this so I can adjust the graphic. That is one benefit of doing replay casts. I can just do that. All right. Gonna have to actually manually find these logos. Can you believe it? I don't even see this team in the logos. Am I looking at the wrong one? No, this is definitely the right division. Are they best of buddies? The logo like right now. Yeah, I think they used to be called best of buddies. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. All right, boom. We should be good now. Okay. Aw, these teams always changing which side they're on. They don't want to make the caster's job easy, but now they're going to be walking forward. Both teams meeting over in the mid lane. Not too much action going to be coming out right away as Ivy looking for the drag, not going to land on AoE rules. But I am quite happy to see an Asmodan, and Goose just going to be using the overpower. Going to get hit with the other overpower. Sorry, what is this ability then? Yeah, this is overpower. Well, what's the Q over on Goose? Overkill. Okay. I think this is the first time in a while I've had to call both this ability at the same time. I think I've been calling both overpower, but now they're on to Bellers. Bellers going to get taken quite low. Compute-X. They're trying to DPS on a Goose. Goose able to trade back a little bit as Moon's trying to get the kills. They're able to get the Whitemane once again. And J-Shifts is on that Genji. And now Genji's job this game is pretty much to kill Compute-X and maybe just in case And it's interesting because not only is this an Asmodan pick, but it's an offlane Asmodan. Now J-Shift's gonna jump into the backline, looking to take down, just in case, iFeed. Gonna walk away, make sure that beam doesn't deal extra damage, and that should be first blood. Very good roam by J-Shift. But what's going to happen in return? Because AoE rules, they see them. The Sapper camp has already been taken down. But now they're aiming for the healer. Dope bots are going to get hit into the wall. It's just trying to hide. Same with Goose. But J-Shift is here now. Same with Bellers. And they're on to Moon. And Moon's going to go down. Now Computex trying to get away. Is able to jump over the wall. But Bellers should have the Stormhammer coming up soon. But not going to be able to use it quite yet. J-Shift. Oh, but they're able to get the snipe. Goose with the grenade over top. And now AoE rules. One more hit. And just like that, BoomerGaming are able to win themselves a pretty solid fight. They have a half-level lead, 4-0, and they have the talent lead. Now, the Sappers did land, so they do lose their gate and a little bit of damage to the top cannon tower, which may come into play later, but you still take that trade. Because just having the extra levels right now, having the extra talent, is going to help a lot, especially when the first altars do start spawning. Now, Moon trying to walk forward, just poking into the bush. Dope Monster is going to be used to prevent them from walking forward. Beller's also here in the area as well. And it doesn't seem like they're seriously considering an engage until AoE rules does walk forward. Computex just autoing onto Bellers and J-Shift. Already at 9 stacks on the scatter arrow for the stacks that we do pay attention to. But now they do have the shadow charge onto Bellers, but that's more just to be a nuisance. But they're able to get the stun onto the backliner. Computex going to get healed up by Moon, but could have been a big play for BoomerGaming. And Moon's able to keep the mana bar pretty high. So they're going to continue having all this healing that they do need. Now they do have the stun onto AoE rules. Scroll of Sealing able to get onto Moon as well. But once again, they're not really able to follow up yet. Goose just trying to DPS whoever is nearby. But it's definitely being a little bit difficult. Now the altars have spawned. They've already fired off, and it's going to be 8-4 in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. But now Computex gonna jump over the wall. The drag not there in time.
The altar is ours.
But Shoepuff and the rest of the squad is going to start grouping up here, looking for iFeed, and the Hogwild's gonna come through. iFeed gonna get hit into the wall, and with the overpower will go down. But is anyone gonna get traded back? Because Goose is here DPSing over top. Avery rules in a bad spot, but Moon is able to get the healing out. And this white main's just been doing work all series long. And that's a very big pick. And one small thing I just realized about the draft, not only is it an Asmodan offlane, that's a core Shoepuff. Just kind of grouping with the team. Now Avery rules once again getting jumped upon. And so much DPS. Moon also on the backline with Computex. The overkill dealing damage onto Computex. Needs just a little bit more damage. But they do have the drag onto Moon. And J-Shift's able to get the final hit onto that. J-Shift is quite low, but we'll be able to just dash away with the reset and actually jump back just to cancel the reset from Computex. And the fights are definitely starting to go. And actually, with the grenade, Goose able to get that. The little frag grenade is more than enough DPS to get that last hit done. And now they have a full level lead. They're still behind in terms of the DPS, but I think in the early game especially, it's more important to just take charge of the map, make sure you get the kills, because once they do have that talent advantage, the game becomes a lot easier for them. Now both altars are spawning near the bot side. Siege Camp has respawned for potential Scrim Thursday. They're just going to clear it together as a team before any other play is going to happen. Bellers is here now, but the Sapper Camp going to get finished before they're able to walk forward. I'm not sure if they were looking to contest it, but now Bellers is just scouting out, and Moon might be able to get it. No Dwarf Toss is going to get committed with that, but Bellers is still going to be getting jumped upon. But in the bot lane, Goose almost managed to get it, but the Sonic Arrow going to cancel that out. So now the real fight is going to happen over this bot lane. Alter now, J-Shift is here. And it is a 4-on-4, but they do have a Dahaka on their side. AoE rules looking towards Bellers, but it's still hard to commit onto this play. Level 10 is pretty close for BoomerGaming, and they are looking for AoE rules. AoE rules is stuck, but Goose at half HP. The drag lands as well, just a little bit more DPS. Just hit the Diablo, and the Diablo will go down, but J-Shift is low, Bellers is low, and Goose actually gets a good chunk of the scatter arrows hit back. It looks like they will be able to get this as long as no more poke comes out from Computex. And Goose will be able to secure that, so it's going to be another 4 altars. But iFeed was here for that, so they're going to be able to get those 4 extra points back. But look at the damage just in case it's done to the top side. They're going to throw out the demonic invasion. I think this is my second time casting an Asmodan. Usually they just go with Power Orb. But that's going to be most of this top altar just completely gone. And it's going to be so hard for them to play in the late game once they do lose that building advantage. And that's the issue with Towers of Doom, especially when you start losing your structures across map. It becomes so difficult to claw back up because the pressure across the map is just so powerful. Now they do land the Scroll of Sealing on a 2. Hammer gonna get tossed as well. But Bellers does not have enough HP to jump in. And it is 3v4, so definitely a risky proposition regardless. Shoepuff is in the backline, but they're not going to go in. J-Shift's just jumping onto Moon. They're both trying to jump onto Moon. Scroll of Sealing, not going to land. Just a little bit deflect, dealing a little bit of extra damage. But they have the X-Strike over top of the Scarlet Age and the Dragon Arrow. Odin is going to be coming through right now, but the Apocalypse will land. And Goose is in the wrong side. The Hog Wild going to be able to finish Goose off. And Beller's also in a bad spot. Hornipole going to get utilized by Shoepuff. The Dynamite not going to land, but the Scatter Shot will. So that's going to be a 2-for-0 for potential Scrim Thursday. And they're up 4 health. They're up building damage. And now they're starting to win the fights too. And with Shoepuff, Hog Wild is so good for taking down these Sapper Cams. Going to be able to finish it off very quickly. And with these 3 Sappers, I don't think it's enough to take this Bell Tower on its own. But definitely more than enough to make it difficult to defend in the future. It's going to be just at around 1/5 HP. It's still decently tanky, as Moon will get the next altar. So now it's going to be an 8 HP lead coming in for potential Scrim Thursday. Goose just going to do a couple of autos, but it's difficult to walk up. Moon has so much range. They're looking for the play for just in case. Now it's J-Shifts and Bellers. They do have the extra auto, and they do have the extra damage. Deflect is going to be coming through, and they will just jump away. Group up with iFeed. And with that, there's no more potential for potential Scrim Thursday to get the numbers back in their favor. Level 13 talents are now up, but it's only a slight lead. Level 13 will come through, but now they're aiming to still capitalize onto it. They're aiming towards this siege camp. J-Shift's gonna get poked out a bit. iFeed onto the backline, but the Apocalypse is getting thrown out once again, and Dragon Arrow over top, only gonna hit Bellers. But it is going to be AoE Rules. Will get healed back up, and with the extra healing is actually still alive. Moon is doing so much work. But now they turn their focus onto Moon instead, and they will be able to get the kill. Beller's trying to save the siege camp. The Asmodan is here as well, and they will be able to take it back for potential Scrim Thursday. It's a 1 for siege camp trade. But now AoE Rules able to get Goose in the backline, and the Scatter Shot is dealing quite a bit of damage. Same with the Dynamite. Goose is trying to DPS away, just throwing damage behind, and they are going to be able to get Shoepuff. And now AoE Rules is still here. Never ended up going down. They don't have a healer, though. Ivy trying to walk backwards. They will have the Scroll of Sealing, and that will end the play. So it's a 2-for-0 in terms of kills for BoomerGaming. But the Siege Camp still won by potential Scrim Thursday. And the HP actually kind of in a good spot for them. However, AoE Rules is not in a good spot and will get taken down. All 5 members of BoomerGaming there for the needed DPS. But the bottom bell tower just went down because of the Sappers. And there's a massive wave over on the top side. They're not able to soak as of now. Now they're looking to play for this bottom bell tower as well. Moon already channeling onto it, but they will be able to cancel with the frag grenade. Beller's still on the back line. Just trying to find a play, and they're able to get the drag onto Moon, and that's the player you want. X-Strike over top as well. Dragon Arrow lands on all 5. Demonic Invasion as well, but Moon will go down. But the HP bars are still favoring. They're able to take Beller's. They're able to take Goose. And iFeed needs to head for the hills. Shoepuff will get the Dynamite, but nothing else. And with that, that's going to be a 2-for-1 for potential Scrim Thursday. And they're going to also take the bell tower, and iFeed nowhere to go. Shoepuff just needs one more hit, and with the Shadow Charge, will be able to get it. So that's going to be an extra 6 damage landing onto the course, 29-17. And now things are starting to look dire because they're nowhere near taking this bot or top bell tower, but they're going to lose their mid one right now. Level 16 Tal's also there for potential Scrim Thursday, and this is not a good spot to be in. And every now and then, there's going to be that one extra DPS coming back. And Computex also here for the defense. It's just Computex, though. Will get stunned, will get finished off. But that will delay a little bit and let them deal a little bit extra damage back to the core. 29-14 now. And there is the Sapper Camp over on the top side. Shoopuf trying to shove that in. It just needs a little bit more. The Dynamite is coming through, but J-Shifts and Goose and Dope Monster, they're standing in the whole team, just trying to prevent these Sappers from taking any more health. However, iFeed also getting caught off onto the side. Beller's going to get stunned into the wall, but will be okay. And it does look like both of those will get taken down, so the Sappers are not going to land, but they do have the pullback on AoE Rules. Goose charging forward, and AoE Rules got to pull them back into the Apocalypse. Scroll of Ceiling will get the stun onto the Diablo, sorry. And now Scarlet Aegis comes out, but there's just too many players here. But with the Dragon Arrow, might be able to run away, is still healing. X-Ray comes out over the top, and the grenade will pull them back. Beller's able to get the final hit there with J-Shift. And I'm surprised how long they stayed alive, but now the Bell Tower also going back. Shoopuf aiming for Goose, and with the Dynamite, will be able to land it. Avatar gets popped by Bellers, but now there's no more mana left onto this Muradin. J-Shift's also quite low. They got this middle bell tower back, but just in case was able to get the bottom one. So once again, they're in a situation where each of these altars do 6 damage. This could actually threaten the end by a potential Scrim Thursday. So they need to make sure to get at least one from BoomerGaming. Now Shoopuf looking to get it is going to get canceled by J-Shifts. And it looks like they are just trying to buy time right now so they could fight for it. But now iFeed gonna get stunned up into the wall. Hogwild on the backline, just dealing so much damage over to everyone. And in the meanwhile, Computex going to get the push in. And now Shoopuf is going to run away with a Hortipult. Will be able to get away, but now AoE Rules is in the backline. Same with Moon. Moon is starting to get blocked. Stay a while and listen. X-Strike over top, but the Crimson Aegis is going to come through. And Moon is just healing for so long. Dragon Arrow going to come out over the top. But with the final bell tower going down, there is damage going to the core. The core is getting attacked. But in the meanwhile, the fight is still continuing. And just in case, just trying to buy time. That's all they really need to do. If they're able to buy enough time here, the game just ends. They managed to kill one on the side. J-Shift's just hitting onto AoE Rules. But the final few hits are going to be coming through in a moment. J-Shift's will go down. Nope. But the final hit will come through, and potential Scrim get the domination victory. And with that, that's going to be the series today. Potential Scrim Thursday. They seem very good as a team. BoomerGaming, this is a team I know. This is a team I've casted quite a bit last season. Just ended up that way. And I know that BoomerGaming is a strong team. They were one of the stronger Nexus division teams. But Potential Scrim Thursday, they played super well. They played together, and they were able to take this domination victory. However, I am liking that BoomerGaming, especially in the second game, they were definitely able to team fight a lot better. They actually won in terms of kills, 19-10. So in terms of mechanics, it's definitely there. And I'm really excited to see how much closer this division does get later on. Now with that, I'm gonna say goodnight to all of you. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Matchmasters. Download Matchmasters for free today and hit the goals to help support this stream. The first few are quite simple, 100, 300 trophies. Takes as little as 5 minutes, helps me out a ton, and lets me do what I enjoy doing most, which is providing high quality casts to all of you. Now with that, I am going to head out. It is time for, well, normally I would do more replays, but the thing is, our casters have been on point. Huge shout out to every caster in the NGS. There is no game uncasted as of this moment. And looking at the schedule, they're already picked up until Tuesday. And we may pick up more games then too. So don't count it short. Everyone's been doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to more of this. Now with that, I'm going to say good night. And I'll see you all tomorrow night at 5 p.m. for another live cast.